Hello out there, it's the Wizard, bringing you Devlog number 2 for Ruby and Majesty Treasure Team. This week, much like the last Devlog, not a huge amount to show for actual changes to Ruby and Majesty, because I have been working tirelessly on Thwart, which is the room tool. Basically, it's a room editor, layout manager, room manager, testing environment, etc. For Game Maker Studio that I used when putting together Ruby and Majesty. So I've been making the new version of that, simplifying the UI, making it a lot more user-friendly, adding all kinds of great new features. So that's basically done. What I'm doing now is loading up the getting it configured to work with Ruby and Majesty, and then I'm going to build some levels and find all the things that don't work still and fix all those. But I figured I would just show off some of the new features for that in the meantime here. So if you watched the previous video, you saw a little bit about how the editor, how Thwart works. This is a bit simpler now. You can see a lot more all at once. You'll notice that we have our objects, our palette up at the top. These are all the things we can put into the level. And we can see that along with the properties on the left here at the same time, which is new. We can also just make all of those go away and free up a lot more space. So if we were working with a much larger level, we'd be able to see more of it pretty easily. You notice too that the palette will sort of expand based on presence of the properties, which is also very nice. So we can get that out of the way too. We've got a little mouse over text here. Some groups, which is brand new. So these are now sorted. We can assign them groups, and then they all sort of end up together. We got our tiles, same kind of deal with that. And if we had enough that filled this whole bar here, we could scroll using these, and it would be an infinite scroll. We'd just keep scrolling, going back to the beginning when we got to the end. Some other excellent things here. I can now render right on the screen various properties, so it's easier to tell. This over here does say up, down, left, right for this 4-directional thing here, but I also have the arrow that's there, so if I need to, I can be like, oh, it's going up. I don't even have to check it. Same thing with this here, that one's going right. And for this lantern, this circle is showing us where the light will be actually in the room when we tab over, which will be fantastic. And we can actually check that really fast. Hopefully that'll work. Oh, there we go. There it is. See, so that's pretty much what we were looking at. Cool. So that's really, really helpful. I've also managed to just get rid of a lot of the unnecessary properties. Every object doesn't have to have all of the properties now, so these can be. This is going to make the save smaller, various other things too. We can even, for some of these, it'll rotate the sprite. It's pretty cool. A lot more visual. Should be much easier to see how things are actually working without having to check the properties every time. You'll notice too, these have changed. We got some plus or minus buttons on these now. All of these are now also editable, like the way the strings are. We can just type in a value. If it's a Boolean, we can just click it and it'll flip-flop, which is pretty simple. So that'll make that a lot easier also. And that's kind of most of it. Connection mode, all of those things are all still basically the same. Another excellent feature here is the saves and loads now work with folders, so we can have subdirectories to organize things. I no longer am going to have to scroll through a gigantic just list of every single room to find the one that I'm looking for. And I've also got previews now, so if I'm not really sure what room name, what it is, it'll load up this little preview here. and I'll have some idea of what I'm working with, which is pretty excellent. That'll be the same over here with the layout also. So the layouts will be grouped by folder. The rooms are, and we'll see this is the full path for the room. We get a preview over here too when something is selected, so that if we're, you know, sussing out our layout here, putting all of our rooms in, we can see exactly, well, we'll get some idea what's in there. This will probably need to be tweaked to work with various resolutions, but for Ruby and Majesty right now, it'll work just fine. And then layouts can also be sorted by directory too, so if we need to have, for whatever reason, if we have so many layouts that they need to go into different folders, for example, if you were making like if you were doing like a Binding of Isaac kind of thing, and instead of randomized layouts, you just had a whole bunch of possible layouts, you could do it this way. And they'll be pretty small file size, so it's an option. Go ahead and tab back. Oh, and you'll see here too, same saving and loading setup for that. Don't have any layouts saved, so nothing in there. That'll also take a screenshot, so if we save this real quick, boom. So that's what that looks like. Again, it's just going to be way easier to know what the hell is going on with all of these files. Because my naming conventions aren't always the best, and being able to actually see what the hell is in them is going to be super helpful. That is primarily the big changes. There's a little bit of like mouse control for the view. The view is a little less constrained. You can now move beyond the edges of the what's in the room. Oh, and there's an undo, which is another big thing. This was a really not difficult thing to implement, but a little time-consuming. So you can set the level of undo that you want to do, which is basically how many changes it tracks, and we can just undo. And that counts for if we overwrite something, it'll switch it back to what was there. And it even tracks the changes for the states and properties and such. So we can just undo all that, Control Z. The string editor too now, let's pull up that. We can actually paste into here, so since this is a really terrible place to like write a long string, because it just kind of gets it gets out of hand. For the time being, if you need to do that, or if I need to do that, just gonna put it in Notepad and then copy and paste it in, because I can just Control V and it knows what to do. Again, this is all just built in Game Maker Studio for use with Game Maker Studio for any type of 2D game. And Ruby Majesty is essentially the kind of test for it. So hopefully later today I'll be building some actual levels, probably live streaming that. I'm going to try to live stream just some of the level building and such in the coming weeks here when I have time. And hopefully next update we'll have some exciting things about what's actually going on with the game. So thanks for checking this out, and stay tuned.